You are not a four is an oft spoken phrase in Enneagram spaces. The reason for this is that fours are overtyped, and fours are overtyped because fours are misunderstood.
Oh.
No, not in a good way. Sit down. When you look up fours on the internet, it's all art, tears, colors, emotions, brooding. The four has the most specific branding of all the types, which, if you've been following this series, you know I see as a very red flag. The Enneagram isn't about the what, so all of these external descriptions about fours and what they're like, sensitive, creative, moody, individualistic, are basically worthless unless you can tell me why. Unfortunately, most people who are just getting into the Enneagram don't think about the why. All they see is, oh, four is the artsy one, I guess I'm the four. And so the four diagnosis gets passed around all william-nilliam like ADHD medications were to 2000s kids. And as a result, nobody understands what the type 4 complex actually is. The most common type that gets mixed up with 4 is 9. I linked a fantastic article about this. 9s tend to struggle with identity, often searching for who am I, often latching on to other people, and 4s struggle with identity as well, but in the complete opposite way. They think they know exactly who they are, and they are completely and utterly obsessed with it. Here's how 4 brain actually works. As heart types, 4s carry around a deep sense of inadequacy. I am not enough, I am not worthy of love. 2s try to create connections with others to manage that inadequacy. 3s try to win against others to manage that inadequacy. But 4s have a different strategy. They just wear it on their sleeve and say, why, yes, I am inadequate. And that's beautiful. 4s narrativize their pain. They spin it into a dark, tragic story that they tell themselves. This relieves them of the obligation to actually change, because it's all for the plot. Yeah, you know what? My life is a tragedy. Instead of looking to cure their sadness, they've integrated it. Now they just are the sadness. They are the darkness. In a word, their defense mechanism is masochism. If you can't beat your problem, learn to love it.
Feels nice, doesn't it? If nothing matters. And all the pain and guilt you feel for making nothing of your life goes away.
If you don't have that masochism, that mopiness, that over-identification with pain, you are not a 4. One of the most explicit 4s in pop culture is Tyrion Lannister. This quote of his is more or less the embodiment of 4ness.
Let me give you some advice, bastard. Never forget what you are. The rest of the world will not. Wear it like armor, and it can never be used to hurt you.
See how sure of himself he is? This isn't a person who wonders about his identity. This is a person who knows his identity to a T. Look at Lana Del Rey. Everybody's like, oh my God, she's such a 4. Read her lyrics, read them. She's a 9. I think the art stereotype throws people off. Yes, since 4s are already selling themselves a type of fiction, they often get into creative spaces. But there are probably just as many 4 artists as there are artists of other types. One of my favorite 4s in fiction is William Holden's character Max in Network. This guy was Ronald Reagan's best man, by the way. That dude doesn't paint, he wears a suit just like everybody else. Still 4 though. True 4 arcs are rare, and Max has one. At the beginning of the story, Max works as a TV lower executive. He loses his job around the time this guy named Howard Beale starts a cult over the airwaves, but Max's storyline isn't really about that. Max's storyline is about him cheating on his wife. Max falls in love with a younger woman, a full-tilt narcissistic 3, and the way he manages this extramarital affair is super weird, unless you're a 4.
Does she love you, Max?
I'm not sure she's capable of any real feelings.
Max loves the pain. He knows she's cold and evil, but the darkness, the drama of it all, it's so intoxicating for him. When Max explains the affair to his wife, he doesn't try to justify his flaws, 4s rarely do. Instead, he lays them out and acts like they're inseparable from him. This was always meant to happen. This is my story, I'm broken. And then he goes into a relationship he knows will destroy him. Because that's the 4. They will soak in their problems. To kill my problems would be to kill a part of myself. I can't have that. I like the darkness. I am the darkness. And so the type 4 arc is basically identity suicide. The 4 has to climb out of the mess, even though they love it. They have to actually do something good for themselves, even if it's not eccentric or darkly beautiful. At the end of the story, Max realizes that his affair is bad for him. He decides to go back to his wife, back to his old mundane life that he left behind, now with a newfound appreciation for it.
And it's a happy ending. Wayward husband comes to his senses, returns to his wife, with whom he's established a long and sustaining love. Heartless young woman left alone in her arctic desolation. Music up with a swell. Final commercial. And here are a few scenes from next week's show.
He's learned that it's okay to be okay. Sometimes a bad thing is just a bad thing, and 4s need to learn to walk away from it instead of getting all excited at the prospect of generating more lore. The 4 instinct exists in the other heart types to a substantial degree. Both 2s and 3s narrativize their lives a lot. The heart types also fall very in love without anything really holding them back. With 4s, that often looks like Max's story, craving drama. 4s will create drama if none exists. But again, this doesn't mean dark, dramatic people are automatically 4s. I have seen some ridiculous 4 typings, mostly on Reddit. If you watch the 6 video, you know how much I hate Zuko being typed as a 4. 6 all the way, his storyline is about loyalty and finding his rightful place in the world. Those are 6 themes, but there are so many others. Samwell Tarly, I'm sorry. These people have completely lost the scent on 4s. They have no idea what to even look for. They just go, oh, that one's a bit weird. Guess they're a 4. You know who's actually a 4? The Grinch. The Grinch is a 4, clear as day. The Grinch feels worthless, so he embraces his self-hatred and tries to bring everybody down to his level because there is no way this 4 is going to accept the unconditional joy of Christmas into his heart. That would be too pure, too happy. Where's the darkness? So if a character clings to sadness for sadness' sake, that's the 4 instinct on some level. Hi, sadness. But the big thing people associate with 4s is uniqueness. People who don't get 4s will say that this desire to be unique is their deepest urge. It's not. The uniqueness thing is secondary. Think about it. The 4's identity is their shield. If somebody else has your identity, then your identity isn't your identity, and you have to face the reality that your problems are just problems. That's why they need to be their own special person. That being said, even though uniqueness is a secondary characteristic of 4s, you can still squeeze a hefty amount of plot out of it.
Let the Lord be with you.
And also with you.
God, the attention to detail. So this movie takes place in 2002. That was before And With Your Spirit dropped and went triple platinum. They don't know what I'm talking about. It's fine. Lady Bird's whole thing is that she's tired of this town and she wants to go somewhere with culture. Her name, the way she dresses, all of her contrarianisms serve the ends of not being like everybody else. The one time she tries to be normal and date a little Catholic boy, he turns out to have the gay, and then it's back to rebellion. Anything to distance herself from the plaid skirts and platitudes. And you could say that Lady Bird's arc is about her learning to be normal. That's a 4 story. The ending is her finally introducing herself as Christine, her original given name that she once found mundane. But on a deeper level, Lady Bird's arc is about her learning to be okay. She dives headfirst into the edgy zone and throws herself in with people she believes are darker and more real because they smoke and they talk about war. And she convinces herself that she likes these people, that she likes this darkness.
Hey, do you guys want to ditch prom and just go to Mike's instead?
Yeah, I hate dances.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But the darkness is dark. I know, shocker, right? It's cynical, it lies, it hurts. Why would you want this? Wait, why do I want this? I want to be happy. I want to be okay. I like my mom. I like the stupid happy song on the radio. Don't change it. That's the 4 triumph. It's okay to be okay. Why are we doing all of this bullshit? I forgot a long time ago. Give me a hug. So the 4 tragedy is when they don't get better. When the black hole sticks around long enough to become the new North Star and everything is fucky now. You'll see this with the whole Joker philosophy. Not his red pill edits. I mean his actual philosophy from the movies. The Joker wants to expose the ugliness in Gotham, in Batman, in everyone, because to him that ugliness is absolute truth and beauty. People think the Joker is a 7 because look, he's chaotic and he laughs. Remember, you have to look beyond the personality and find the Enneagram in the fabric of the narrative. At some point, people just started lifting surface level traits like emotional and artistic from 4 descriptions and ignoring the mechanics underneath. Any type can be emotional, any type can be artistic. What is 4ness really? 4ness is a strategy for self-esteem that involves denying the need for it. And anything that might happen to flow from that, a deep inner world, a complex understanding of beauty, a desire for uniqueness, all byproducts. When you shed the superficial artsy 4 stereotype, you realize 4 coding can get weird and theoretical. These star patches are 4 coded. Cope with the pimple by saying, yes, I have a pimple. Look at my pimple. It's beautiful. Any antagonist whose purpose is to spread bad vibes for bad vibes' sake could be typed as a 4. Is Voldemort a 4? It does get blurry because people like that don't actually exist. Nobody actually wants to be hated, but you can get close by having a megamind type character who embraces their pain and manifests it externally by being a villain. If your goal is to write a villain who says, he, I am a villain, and like uses that word, that basically has to be a 4. Just remember that the masochism, the love of darkness, is a defense mechanism. 4s are heart types and they want to be loved. Periodhood. Deep down, perhaps even subconsciously, most are looking for a true friend, a soulmate, perhaps even a savior who will pick up their broken pieces. 4s want to be seen. That's why, despite being eccentric and aloof, they do put on quite a show. 5s will abandon civilization and go live in the woods. Fours will abandon civilization and go live in the woods, but they'll bring a disposable camera and they'll take a bunch of pictures and then they'll come back and tell you about how they found themselves and shit. They can't help but be relational. They can't help but perform a little. Yeah, you can write a 4 character without a big public cry for help like Max works, and he's a pretty private guy, but even he ropes in his wife as a witness to his drama. Ultimately, the 4 story is about letting go of the emotional masochism and doing something good for yourself. If your entire identity has been pain, then to relieve the pain is, in a sense, to die. 4s must let go of their shame-bound, masochistic identity and allow a new self, a healthier self, to come into the picture. That's it. Peace, love, and rubber gloves. Goodbye.